Welcome, everybody. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Christ and Culture. I want to welcome you all to the broadcast. Hope everybody's doing well today. It seems like we have not been here forever. I mean, it really does. It's kind of one of those scary things where you go, well, you know, I've been off for about a week, 2 weeks or so, and you almost forget what's going on. But fear not, we are back, and we're getting ready to do the broadcast. For those of you, this might be your first time checking us out. Christ and Culture is really about, we talk about what's going on in the culture, what God is doing. It could be politically, it could be culturally. There's really not too much we don't talk about on this broadcast. And so we want to encourage you that if you want to be a part of the broadcast, we've got the show up on our YouTube channel. I'm going to go there right now. So it's called Christ and Culture Show. So definitely go there and check out our show on Christ and Culture Show. And you can get in on the conversation with us here. So before we get going too far, though, let's bring Pastor Tommy on. Pastor Tommy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Pastor Sherman. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And we both had like this busy schedule over like the last couple of weeks. And we got together Saturday.
Yes.
For a pastor's breakfast. So give everybody kind of cliff notes. How did you like it at the pastor's prayer breakfast we went to?
Well, I always love it when pastors are able to get together. It's taken me anyway 18 years to come to this point. Mm-hmm. I've been here and tried several times to do that. So I'm glad that you were actually spearheading this and getting this all together, and I enjoyed it. Food fellowship was good. The word was good. It was confirmation and kind of just added to my Sunday message. So thank you, Pastor Sherman, for
Did
that.
It really added to your Sunday message?
Yeah. So it was just all lined up, and so just making good connections and looking forward to more fellowship.
Yeah, we're already starting. Reaching out to folks for our June meeting. So if some of you pastors that are out there, especially if you're in the Las Vegas area, let's say you're going to come in, let us know. It's you can actually connect with us at the email address. It's called Las Vegas Pastors Prayer Breakfast. I know it's really long, but that's what Las Vegas Pastors Prayer Breakfast at gmail.com. And send us a request and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of what you guys are doing. And we will see if we can find you a seat. Hopefully it will be filled to overflowing. Pastor Tommy, you were alluding to, I got to speak there. I was really honored to speak. It was really fun. But I tell you, I think the thing that really kind of was the icing on the cake was we got to lay hands on a brand new pastor and her husband and launch them into ministry. A lovely couple. I think her name was Julie, and I never did get her husband's name, but that was really good. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Just the fact that happened while we were all together. Mm-hmm. That's actually a part of my calling, is to send people out. So to be a part of that was just awesome for me. Yeah,
it was so fun. Really just had a great time. Wonderful couple. And it's funny, they currently attend the church that my wife and I spent over 20 years at, the International Church of Las Vegas. And so we were there for a long, long time. And so it was kind of cool to kind of tell them, hey, did you see that piece of paper over there? Did you see that bump on the wall? We were there. We're the ones who did that. So it was very cool stuff. So I've got the YouTube channel up right now. So if you would like to get in on this conversation right now, once again, the YouTube channel is Christ and Culture Show. On our YouTube channel, we'll also have this show up on our Spotify account and on Apple Podcasts a little later this evening. We've got to do a church visit, so it might be a little bit later, but I'm looking really forward to getting that up. And just check that out. If you'd like to email us, you can email us, though, at christandcultureshow@gmail.com. It's christandcultureshow@gmail.com. Well, let's get to some of the stories, Pastor Tommy. There was so much going on. We missed like the last 2 weeks, and it seems like the earth turned over on its head in the last 2 weeks. So where do you want to start? I mean, where do you start on the tariffs if you want? Let's
let's start there.
Okay. Tariffs are starting to kick in now. I've not even been on the. I do know this. So many of you know that over the last couple of weeks, President Trump has been telling the world, threatening the world that he's going to start implementing reciprocal tariffs. And what that means is basically tariffs that are commensurate with what tariffs we are being tariffed by other countries. Now, I don't know if many of you knew this, but America is pretty much a free trade zone, which means you can sell anything you want to Americans and we'll buy it. And there's no added expense to it. There's no tariffs, no taxes. But that doesn't apply when we try to sell things to other countries. And so President Trump says, hey, we've been getting the short end of the stick for many years now. And so we are going to start doing what they call reciprocal tariffs, which means whatever we're being tariffed by another country, that's what we're going to be tariffed by. And it finally took effect yesterday. And when it went into implementation, the world went crazy. Stock market went down. Actually, no, it went into effect on Friday, didn't it? I think it went into effect Friday. And the stock market started dipping, and people were jumping out of their windows and everything else. And people were saying, "Oh, the end of the world is drawing near," and it was just this crazy thing. Well, now we're on Tuesday now, just a couple of days out from that, and guess who is at the beck and call of Mr. Trump? You're right. Almost every nation on the planet is at America's doorstep saying, "Let's make a deal." Pastor Tommy, so what have you thought about the tariffs so far and implementation and the reaction of the world?
Well, this is exactly what I expected, because I understood what he was trying to do. Most people didn't understand what he was trying to do, so they were all up in arms. Yeah, I knew the stock market would dip. I knew that prices would be adjusted. It's going to take some time for this to take effect. But the outcome of what he intended, which is to get other nations to play ball, to either lower their tariffs or, become equal, let us become equal to where they're at. So we're not getting in debt, more and more in debt every day, actually. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember how many billions have went into effect just over the last few days that we're actually saving. So to see the countries say, "Ho, ho, ho, okay, Mr. Trump, let's make a deal now." And this is what he wanted. He wanted to make a deal so that we're not being taken advantage of. So I really think that this is a great idea, and we're starting to. I didn't think it would happen this fast, but it's happening.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's the thing that drives people crazy. It's so fast. I mean, the phone, I can imagine right now Mr. Trump going, "Well, I've got to go to this place, or I've got to go to that. I got to play a little bit of golf." And they're going, "Mr. Trump, you can't. You can't, because the phone is ringing, and that there's no hotel rooms left open across from the White House, because now you've got this nation, and you got that nation, you got this nation. They're all lining up to talk to you." So some of you folks have already been keeping an eye on this. Israel came on TV yesterday, right? And they said, we are going to be zero tariffs, nothing at all. We hope that we are going to be a model for the rest of the world, that no tariffs, because I think America is like the prettiest girl in school. This is the analogy. America is the prettiest girl at school. Everybody wants to date us. And before this, we would date anybody, right? We would date anybody. We would go out with anybody. We didn't care. And we were just the prettiest girl in school. And then we started getting a little upset about it. And we started feeling like we're taken advantage of. And now we're saying, I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to dance with anybody. I'm not going to the dance with anybody. If you want to go to the dance with me now, you've got to prove that you're worthy of going to the dance with me. And the rest of the world's going, Everybody else is pretty ugly around here. You know, I can't go to the dance with Argentina. You know, I can't go to the dance with this country, and America is the land of plenty, and so this is an amazing thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't think it would happen this fast. But yeah, the phone is ringing. I saw numbers of countries. Europe, the EU wants to go to 0-0. You know, before they were all over Trump. They were all over him. How dare he do this? We're gonna retaliate. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do. Now they're saying, okay, let's drop everything and make it 0.
You know, I'll tell you I think people thought that they were going to play chicken with the master, right?
Yeah.
And you can't play chicken with the guy who's got all of the cards, right? America is the cash cow. I mean, we buy everything, we produce everything. Money is, you know, America is holding all the cards. The one country though that is saying that they're going to try to do everything they can to stop America is China. Yeah. So tell me, how long do you think China's going to last?
China has a lot of pride. So it may take a while, but I think something will happen because China's allies are being sanctioned out of this world. You got Russia, you got Iran, and North Korea. They're being sanctioned like crazy right now. So I don't think that they're going to be able to hold on for too much. We'll see. But I don't think their economy is exactly where they want it. Yeah. And I think they're doing some saber rattling too. But I think it'll take a minute and something will be worked out.
I think you said the word pride. China is working on, they're living on pride. Pride will only get you so far though. Okay.
Yep.
And so pride is working on one thing, and then you have communism. Everything is towards the state. Does the head of China, okay, the oligarchs that are and the leaders care that much about how much their people suffer in order to achieve a means? I think that is something that is working in China's favor. I mean, in a kind of a diabolical way, right? They don't care if their people die. Let's say 1 million Chinese die. Do you think the Chinese government really is going to be upset about it?
No, probably not.
What if 1 million of them starve, you know, or 1 million of them are out of work, or anything like that? I think China is a whole different animal, though. And they hold our debt. They hold a lot of our debt. And they produce, I think, 50% of everything we bring in is from China. And so I think today I'm going to look, I'll have to take a look here in just a couple of minutes, maybe during a break, to see if something has changed because they were actually due by like 9 o'clock this morning. If they didn't change their tune, right, that they were going to be, and I'm gonna have to look because this is pretty relevant stuff. Has China decided to shift? Have you heard anything about this yet?
I haven't. Yeah, I wanted to try and do so, but today's been pretty jam packed.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna take a really quick peek, and I'll take a look on AP and see if we've got any kind of movement from China. But U.S. stocks dive, another stunning uncertainty in tariffs. I don't see anything about China because guess what? It would be right up in front. Okay. So we're going to find out here in the next, because this should probably be one of the biggest stories that there is about this tariffs things, because really a lot of stuff really hinges upon China, because China does produce all of our drugs. They produce chips, They produce, well, actually Taiwan does, but China controls a lot of that stuff. A lot of our rare earth minerals, that kind of stuff. So I guess this goes to the second part of this equation. How dangerous is it for America that we've allowed ourselves to get to this place where we are so globally connected with everybody that if one person gets upset at us, they could actually turn off our spigot for the things that keep us alive.
It's very dangerous, and I think that's what President Trump recognized. He recognized, hey, we're not in control here. If somebody gets a wild hair, we're in trouble. And so I think this is one of the things that he's doing to try and get that control back, so that we're not manipulated and taken advantage of like we have been. Over the years, we've literally been handing over our power and our authority over to China, little bits and pieces at a time.
Yeah, and that's the scary part about it is remember right when COVID first started, we found out how vulnerable we really were. The supply chain was like the biggest one, and we went, oh gosh, this is not good. We got supply chain issues, and then somebody started digging into it a little bit more, and they went, wait a minute, China produces all of our components for our drugs because they could say to us, we're not giving you this particular drug, and we could die as a country, and that's very, very scary. So there are people out there right now that are basically hooting and hollering, saying that we should not Doge should not exist, and number two, that we should not be implementing these tariffs. And I don't think they understand what and why we're doing all these things. Doge is there because we are, as a country, are spending ourselves into oblivion, and it's unsustainable. And these tariffs are here is because we're giving away the house. That we don't make anything in America, and we are so vulnerable as a country that all it takes is one country to say we're not going to give you this or give you that, and we're up the creek. So Pastor Tommy, what would you say to somebody who's comes up to you and goes, hey, this whole Elon Musk thing or Trump with the tariffs is wrong? I mean, what would you say to them to try to alleviate their fears?
What I've done, specifically talking about Doge, I just ask people, are you in debt? Do you have a lot of credit card debt? And everybody says, well, yeah. I said, wouldn't you like to have more money to last through the month, every month? And they go, well, yeah. I said, how would you rectify that situation? How would you fix that? And they don't have an answer. And I said, you would cut up your credit cards. And that's basically what we're doing. We're cutting up credit cards that we don't need. We're cutting off the outflow of cash that we could actually be using for other things, wasteful spending. It's here's something. I'll just say something really quick. Sometimes I'll do a budget for some of my clients, and they said, well, I can't really afford a house right now, even though I make $75,000 a year. And I go, you mind if we sit down and talk? And so usually, they come to my office with a Starbucks cup. And I go, let me ask you a question. Do you go to Starbucks every day? And they go, well, yeah. And I said, well, typically every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, how much do you spend per day? They said, probably about $20. I said, do you realize if you go every day without going on a weekend, that's $600 a month? I said, just stop doing that, and now you have $600 extra a month. And that's basically what Elon Musk is doing. Cut off Netflix, cut off your Starbucks, stuff that doesn't matter. And that's basically what he's doing. So that's what I've been saying to people. Some people will be like, oh, like they told Paul, we'll hear this matter later. Right?
Yeah.
They don't hear it.
And they don't see it. They just don't see it. I think they're drinking what they call drinking the Kool-Aid. They're hearing their representatives, their quote unquote representatives, say how bad it is that Elon Musk is doing this and he's going around Congress. And I'm going, guys, here's the deal. Congress has had the chance to do this. Congress is incapable of exercising the discipline needed to stop spending money. There's always some good old boy that goes, well, I need me another bridge to nowhere, and I need me a swimming pool to nowhere, and I need a Venus flytrap to nowhere, and it's going to cost you a couple $2 billion. Oh, don't worry about that. And if the other guy goes, slaps you on the back, and he goes, yeah, that's you go. You do that for me, and I'll do this for you. And they all keep spending money, and so they're incapable of doing it. So for Congress to go around saying how and puff their chests out and say how unfair this is, they need to know, look, guys, if you were in the regular business world and you spent money like this, you would not be in business anymore. You'd be broke. So don't come back to the American people who have put their trust in you and say that this is Elon Musk's fault. This is your fault, Congress. This is your fault that you've done this for all these years, and now you're upset because somebody tells you we're going to help you. Matter of fact, if I were a congressman, you know what I'd be doing? I would be going to Elon, going, "Thank you so much, thanks a lot, man. Ooh, boy, I was wondering how we were going to get out of this thing. Ooh, man, oh my gosh." Wow, so some of you are probably watching us for the first time. This is Christ and Culture. I'm Pastor Sherman. This is Pastor Tommy. We come to you once a week. I haven't been here for a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, got really busy over the last couple of weeks. But we come to you normally once a week, talk about the people, the places, the things that affect your life. And hopefully that the Lord is in everything we're saying, and that you understand that this is the way Christians should be talking about this whole thing. If you'd like to get on the conversation, we do have our YouTube channel up and running right now. You can go to Christ and Culture Show and get in on the conversation. If you just want to send us an email or something like that, go ahead, send something to us at christandcultureshow@gmail.com. So let's talk about something that's really been going on. Just recently, let me make sure I get this right one. Oh gosh, I was just looking. So there was President Trump has been closing up the border, and one of the things that he's tasked Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, who is the Homeland Security chief, to do is to round up these illegals that have come in here, and not just any person that just basically comes across the border, but starting out with the people who are just violent criminals. One of those gangs that has come across our borders is called Tren de Aragua. And so a couple of weeks ago, the Trump administration rounded up, some couple of hundred of these folks, and then flew them over to El Salvador, where there's this super max prison, and they're not leaving that place. Well, there's a judge, his name is Judge Bozeman, and he's out of the D.C. Circuit Court up there, and he was somehow or another got involved in this equation for whatever reason, and put an order on the Trump administration saying, hey, you can't do this. You can't take these people out of here. These illegal aliens out of our country. Illegal alien gang members who are killing people. You can't take them out of our country and send them and deport them. And so this has been this tug of war. Well, there was a Supreme Court verdict on this 5-4 decision, ruled that the Trump administration was likely to succeed on the merits in a lawsuit filed in D.C. District Court challenging the removal of the 5 Venezuelan men under the centuries-old law. And basically what they're saying is that the Trump administration would have probably won the argument on this. And so they said, Trump administration, you are well within your rights to go ahead and start loading up these flights and sending these guys to Venezuela. And I think one of the caveats on this was that you still have to let people know so they can whine about it. I think that's kind of what they're basically saying. So here's Pastor Tommy. Give me your thoughts on this. Was there anything wrong with what President Trump was doing? And number two, is there anything? Why would a judge step in and say anything about any of this stuff?
You know, if I was President Trump, I would have did the same thing. Get rid of the killers, the illegal criminals from this country that came in. Um, and to answer the second question, I don't know. I'm wondering who's behind that. Who's pulling the strings, saying, "Hey, we got to get a judge to stop it." Why would you want to? Okay, so let's put it back on the people. If someone broke in your house and the police showed up and arrested them, and your neighbors came and said, "No, no, 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 no. He was there legal. He has a right to be there." Okay, and then you just let the guy just loose in your house. How would you feel? That's how we feel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
People, we want these criminals out of here. People just don't think. They just jump on the bandwagon. They're looking for a reason to be angry. Well, they're already angry, but they're looking for a reason to just vent that anger. And it's just mind blowing to me. I'm just looking at people going, "Are you thinking about anything that you're saying right now?"
Yeah, I don't understand it either. And I'm wondering, these people, the judges, okay, you think back in the Old Testament, right, where we have judges, right? This reminds me of Hophni and Phineas, right? They're supposed to be serving at the temple, right? They're supposed to be serving alongside their dad, and they're supposed to be doing all this other stuff, and they're going, "No, you know what? I kind of want some of that meat, and I kind of want some of them women, and you're thinking to yourself, what? I thought you were supposed to be entrusted with the as an oracle of God, and you're supposed to be
Yes.
entrusted with all this power, and all these people are because it's so. Here's the thing that also is happening with this. President Trump, every time he does something, they're able to find a judge, some judge that says, "Yeah, I'll take up this case." I just don't understand. I mean, where have we gone wrong? Where have we gone wrong as a nation where we've got all these people that will do this at the drop of a hat?
That's what I don't understand. But looking back, seeing how they put all these judges in office, thinking, well, what if he gets reelected? They put in a bunch of judges prior to the election just to make things a little bit more difficult. So I can see that. But like you said, if you're a judge, how could you judge rightfully with just with the mindset, I'm going to go against the president on everything he says?
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it seems like right now.
Everything. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if he came up with, and Trump said this very interesting. He said, if I came up with a cure for cancer, they would have a problem with it.
Yep.
They would say, "Oh, he's just giving it to his rich buddies." It's like, really? So cure for cancer comes, and you guys are looking at, well, he killed a rat in order to get it. He's a racist or something. It's just, I am at the point. So I put this online, I believe. Maybe other people will pick it up. Is that these judges, and it generally they call it judge shopping, right? They go around looking for a judge that will take up these cases, and it tends to be these judges in this one little area, and it's basically in our area. Basically, we're the 9th district over here, right? And they're able to find these judges, and these judges will say, "Yes, I will take up that case, and I will adjudicate for you," and then they get overturned by the Supreme Court, right? So here's my idea. That Congress needs to enact a law that says if you are overturned more than one time in your entire lifetime as a judge, you're impeached, you're gone.
Wow. Yeah.
Because right now they cannot they cannot lose their job. They're lifetime appointments, right? So, so the only way you can actually take them out of office is you have to impeach them for high crimes and misdemeanors, not just for bad rulings, right? No, they need to lower that bar just a little bit and say, no, if a case comes up before you and it's pretty obvious that you screwed up on this, okay, not that you didn't judge well or was a difference of opinion, but the Supreme Court comes up and they go, no, you screwed this up. you were wrong. You knew you were wrong. This has nothing to do with the Constitution. And that happens more than one time, you're out of here. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's actually raising. That's actually raising the bar, actually, because you're putting more pressure on them to perform. Just like with any other job,
Mm-hmm.
you have to perform at your job, or else you're out of there.
Why not? Yep. If I was let's say you're a police officer, right? You're a police officer. The first time you accidentally do something wrong, they go, hey, we all make mistakes, pat you on the back or a little bit, get you. But the second time they go, no, you're going to kill somebody. You're done, right? Judges are no different. Why would you give somebody a lifetime appointment that they can do pretty much anything? And these guys come up there, and especially, so I guess here comes to the second point of this question, is should a judge, an unelected bureaucrat, be able to stymie the will of the people, power which is invested in the president of the United States? Should a federal judge be able to say, I'm going to stop the rest of the country because I have an opinion on something?
Yeah, and that's just it. We have to have some kind of backstop for that, because basically they're running the country. If they're not gonna, let the president make the decisions, let the people of the country make the decisions, they're the ones who are literally making the decisions, and that's not right. That's not what it was designed to do.
Yeah. So I think that is going to be the next thing, because they could actually fire them all. Right now, I don't think they realize it, but the Congress could actually, because there's no judges in the Constitution. There's no provision for judges. They are just like the Secret Service and Homeland Security. Those were actually made up by the legislature. Okay, so they're not constitutionally, provision offices. So they could actually get rid of them. And now people would be very upset. Can you imagine what would happen? Wow. All of you gone. It's like it would be. But anyways, hey, so did you hear the story? There was a story about Microsoft. A Microsoft worker said she got fired after her protest at their 50th anniversary celebration. This is an AP story. Microsoft has fired 2 employees who interrupted the company's 50th anniversary celebration to protest its work supplying artificial intelligence technology to the Israeli military, according to a group representing the workers. This is a very interesting story. They said that this lady got up in the middle of one of the CEOs who was speaking, and she says this. She says, you claim that you care about using AI for the good of but Microsoft sells AI weapons to the Israeli military. Her name is Abuzad, and she shouted it at Microsoft CEO, and his name is Mustafa Suleiman. And 50,000 people have died, and Microsoft powers this genocide to our regime. So she gets upset and starts waving her fist. They escort her out of there, and they fire her immediately. They say, you're done. That's it. I guess my question is, who do these people think they are? That they can get up in the middle and just start protesting? And how did we get to this point in America?
By letting it happen. We've let it happen for so long. It's been a powder keg, and here we are. You kind of alluded to it. People have just basically lost their minds. Mm-hmm. I heard that she was upset that she got fired. Well, she didn't get fired for protesting. She got fired because she pointed at the CEO in front of lots of people in a place that wasn't set up for that.
No,
I would have fired her too. That was disrespectful.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like you getting up in front of your dad and you going, and Dad goes, "What did you say, boy?" It's like, you said what? Oh no, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think people get to the point where they get so full of themselves that they lose any kind of decorum. Because they said, look, if you had a problem with this, you could have gone through channels to get this message
Yep.
through to everybody. But you cannot stand up and use a public forum. This is not a public forum for you to do stuff like
Mm-hmm.
this. And so that's, I don't know. There was another story, and I thought that this was very interesting. In New York State has been given, they were under the mandate, just like the rest of the country, to eliminate DEI programming in their school system. And this is very interesting because this smacks of something that happened many years ago, and I'm very sensitive to this. You're very sensitive to this. Back in the 60s, this story is Daily Signal. A story. It says the Center Square. In a forceful pushback, New York education officials are defying the Trump administration's directive to eliminate DEI programs in public schools. In a letter to the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, New York School Counsel and Deputy Commissioner Daniel Morton Bentley said the state will not comply with an order from the president's to certify that school districts are eliminating DEI initiatives. The state will not send any further certifications of compliance with federal law. Oh my God, the letter said. I'm wondering if these guys know what they're doing. So basically, they're saying that the law that was handed down by the president, we don't like it, and we think we are. What does this remind you of anything, Pastor Tommy? Of something that happened back in the 60s?
Which one are you talking about?
Where a state basically where a state basically said we're not going to do what you say it do. So I'm a little older than you, so
you're talking about the integration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you have city, so this smacks so much of this. And I was telling my wife, I go, honey, you know what? All of these things, I don't know if anybody's has seen the similarities of all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrat Party is doing exactly what they've always done. They said, we don't like what the will of the people says. We don't like what the law says. We don't like that you're changing. And then you got James Carville who's getting up and going with his country self. And he's getting up there going, well, I'm not saying this or something. And I'm waiting. The only thing that this guy is missing is a straw, as a big plantation hat and a corncob pipe and going, the South shall live again, the South shall rise again. That's the only thing he's missing. They're burning.
Don't forget the coveralls.
The coveralls, yes. He's going, you know what, you're not this, y'all Yankees are coming in there changing the way things are, and we'll burn you out, and we'll hit you in the face, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And now New York State is basically saying, we will not do what you say to do. Federal government. It's almost like the South saying to Lincoln, we will not let those slaves go. Am I just hypersensitive to this, or am I close?
No, because I thought about the same thing too. It's just utter defiance. I'm gonna throw a tantrum because I'm not getting my way. I don't care what the people say. Like you said, I don't care what the people say. I don't care what the law says. I'm gonna throw a tantrum because I'm not getting my way. It's my way or the highway, and that's what these people are thinking. I have never seen so many angry people that I grew up with, people that I know dearly, are so angry that they're you can see steam coming out of their ears and their eyes are bloodshot red because they're just walking around so angry, and it's mind-blowing to me that they're that angry they're not getting their way.
Yeah, and not only are they angry, but they're so defiant. There was a lady, she was a reporter. She was a reporter, and she's just doing her report, right? She's walking around talking to people. The lady hits her in the face. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? Lady? You can't just go around and hit people in the face. The lady's bleeding and everything else. You've got people, mark my words, I wish somebody in the mainstream would connect the dots. they don't like what you're doing. What they'll try to do is they'll try to kill you, right?
Yes.
They tried to kill Trump twice. Tried to kill him twice.
Mm-hmm.
If you are on the right, okay, if Jesus Christ came back today, they would try to kill him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They don't say they would go, oh no, we would never do that. Oh yeah, you would, because you would say the same thing that is being said now. He would say you cannot. A man is not a woman. You would say no, that this isn't right. No, that isn't right. This isn't right. And they would try to kill him this day.
Yes.
And they would say, oh, but didn't we feed the babies in your name? I go, no, you didn't feed the babies. You killed the babies, is what you did.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I wish there was something that could be done. In a kind of it's not in a related story, but it's a fairly interesting story. An SRN news story. The Ten Commandments could be coming back to Kentucky. This is an SRN news story. It says lawmakers have approved a resolution calling for the restoration of a large stone monument bearing the Decalogue, or the Ten Commandments. It has stood in front of the Capitol building in Frankfurt until the year 2000, when the ACLU lawsuit succeeded in getting it removed. But with the re-election of President Trump and the U.S. Supreme Court that favors religious freedom, the Kentucky legislature is moving to bring the Ten Commandments back. Isn't that amazing? That statue has been, or that monument has been there for decades. And somebody all of a sudden says, we don't want people to read that because, and this was actually earlier on many years ago when we were looking at this, that they said the reason why they took that thing down, guess why they took it down in the first place?
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
Because they said people will start following it.
Wow.
You think? If kids start seeing that, if adults see those Ten Commandments, they might start following it. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, it's something to having to learn that lying is not okay. That stealing is not okay. Going to vandalize somebody's car because they drive a Tesla is not okay.
Yes. And these people think, and like I said, it's the most backwards thing I've ever heard in my life, where people think, you know what, teaching my kid not to steal, no, let's not teach them that, because they can steal up to $900 in California.
And they're trying to reverse that now.
Finally, right? Finally, they're trying to, after the damage is done, right? The damage has already been done. You've got a generation of people. I know of people who are fairly close to me. I don't know them personally, but they're within arm's length of my family. That's what they do, is they go to stores, take a bag of, shopping bag, fill it up, go and steal, and just walk out the door.
And then they go sell it, probably.
Yeah, they don't think anything about it. They just don't think anything about it, and they're teaching their kids to do the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And heaven forbid that they have a Ten Commandments that says, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's horse, or anything like that. So, my gosh. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, I'm Pastor Sherman. It's Pastor Tommy here. And we're talking about a world that's spinning out of control. This is Christ and Culture, folks, and we are. No, you didn't drop in on a comedy routine of things that possibly could happen. No, they're really happening, folks. That people are just nuts. And if you'd like to get in on the conversation, you're watching us on our YouTube channel. Look over there from time to time, folks, and definitely get in on the conversation. We'd love to have you in on it. Or you can write to us at christandcultureshow@gmail.com. Check out the show after we're off here, maybe a few hours after. Today we're actually going to be it's going to be a little weird because we actually Gotta go visit somebody in church today, so won't be able to get the show up. But normally we're up on Spotify or up on our Apple Podcast fairly quickly. But check back. But we encourage you, tell a friend to go on our YouTube channel and check it out. And also you can go on Godstream TV, because we're now on Godstream TV, and it's so fun to have us up there. Pastor Tommy, you're on Godstream TV too, aren't you?
Yes, I'm loving it. Yes, I've noticed that the views went up because I just started it and I don't have any viral videos yet, but the views jumped up quite a bit since I've been on there.
There you go. So you got get on. You know, we want to get as many people on who've got ministries, broadcasts, as many people out there, because guess what? The world is spinning out of control, and they need voices of reason, like Pastor Tommy, to go ahead and to speak into their lives. What else we got here? Let me find out. Oh, this is an interesting story too. There was a Newsmax story, and I didn't get to read the whole thing. I thought that this was such an important story, though, when I first perused it. It said migrants who were temporarily allowed to live in the United States by using the Biden-era online appointment app have been told to leave the country immediately, officials said Monday. This is very, very interesting. It said, we want you to leave the country immediately. And where's it? I'm sorry, I can barely read this here. Let me get you out of the way there. Oh, sorry. I'm going to. So they wanted to. So they said more than 900,000 people were allowed in the country using the S2Ep15 app since January of 2023. They were generally allowed to remain in the United States for 2 years with authorization to work under a presidential authority called parole. Canceling these paroles is a promise kept to the American people to secure our borders and protect national security, the Department of Homeland Security Media Affairs Unit said in response to the question. So what do you think about the fact that they are telling these people, because what they did with this S2Ep15 app is they changed it to say, hey guys, guess what? The first one said to come into the country. Now you can use the same app to get out of the country.
Don't let the door hit you.
That's it. Don't let the door hit you. I'll tell you. I love this thing, man. I really do. Is it now? By and large, most people are very much in favor of deportations. They want people to leave the country. They said, "Look, that you come into this country illegally, and we put up with it when it happened, but it's time to go." And so they are, by and large, very happy with this. What kind of message do you think this is sending to the rest of the world, Pastor Sherman?
Come here legally. Don't come here illegally. If you want to come here, go through the proper channels. I think it's awesome. You know, because if they really want to be here, they just go down there and file the paperwork. And, you know, even if it does take, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it takes. I know some people actually wait that long and they come over here like they're supposed to. So if that's something you really want to do, it's some jobs that you have to go to school for 6, 10 years, like doctors, but they do it and they become a doctor. If it's something you really want to do, you'll pay the time. That's all it is to it.
Oh, yeah. And being an American citizen is important. It's not something we should take lightly. And it really isn't. It's valuable. Now, President Trump put a dollar figure on it. I don't know if you saw this. He's got the gold card, the gold visa, I guess, or gold card. Yeah. And for $5 million, it's a $5 million gold green card. And it allows you to be. Go ahead.
I was going to say, didn't they make a whole bunch of money on that too?
They have already. Yeah. And they're hoping to sell. I think they're hoping to sell 1 million of them or something like that. I think they don't think that there's that many people who have $5 million. Oh yeah, there are. There's a lot of people who have at least $5 million.
There is. Yep.
And that's really kind of, when this country first started, we were desperate for people, anybody. Come over here, farm the ground, spread out, give you land or something like that. Well, now we're at a different place. We're at a different place in America. And we don't need people as much as we need innovators. We need not only just innovators, but industrialists, people who are going to see something and really make it. We don't need people that are going to show up in this country and go, okay, where's my welfare check? We just don't need that, right? We need people who are willing to feed the rest of the world, come up with ideas, because really, if we continue as a country to not increase in population, we don't have as many babies anymore. So we're kind of hamstrung that way, and yet we need to encourage people to have more babies and more people to become industrialists, become innovators. Don't just live and die, but do something with the opportunity that you have. Is that a fair analogy?
Yeah, no, it is. And far too often, we need people from other countries to come in here and do that. And I think that that's sad, because we're taking advantage of people coming from India. They're changing the game in the IT industry, the tech industry. But you're right. We don't live in the 1800s when we needed people to come and build a country. We have a country built, and like you pointed out, it's the top dog on the block. So we don't need what we used to have, or we don't have the same needs that we used to have. And so we have different needs now, and we have to move on to make sure that we get those needs met. And but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I hope people understand that. And I think the reason why this kind of pivots on this whole thought about becoming an American citizen. There is a reason why it takes so long to become an American citizen. I really believe, and it's not just a logistical thing. It's not like, hey, guess what? They can't just take a form and go, stamp your form and get you next. You could do that any day, right? But America is an ideal. You know what I mean? America is not a skin color. America is not a language. America is an ideal. And if you don't learn that ideal, what to be American is, you don't really get it. People know Americans when you go to Argentina, when you go to China, when you go to any other land, Italy, they can pick an American out pretty quickly, because Americans have a different swagger. They speak a little louder. You know what I mean? They have a certain, right? We're just a little different. Okay. You don't get that if you just came over on a boat right now and they threw you in the middle of New York. And yes, you are physically on American soil, but you are not an American, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to learn that, right? And so I think when people say, "Oh, just you're unfair," and you're just, you guys need to speed up this immigration process, I'm going, no, you don't want people, because guess what? If you keep doing that, if you keep just bringing people in who don't understand the American system, that don't understand how to take advantage of all this stuff and how to become, have that mindset, what do you think is going to happen in the past, Shami? What do you think is going to happen to our country?
What's happening now? We got people that's living here and been here that don't understand what it is to be an American. This is why we have the division. But yeah, all these same people who are complaining about that, let them try to go to another country and get citizenship just pick one. Just pick a country and try to get, unless you're a Black African American that's wanting to move to Ghana, because that's an exception. Ghana and Nigeria, they're accepting, people like you and I. But just pick a country and try to become a citizen and see how long it takes you. It's not that simple.
Yeah. I think you pointed out something too. The reason why our country is going the way it is right now is you got a lot of people who are not loyal to this flag. You can't see my flag. I've got a flag back here. That they don't bleed red, white, and blue. You know, they don't have a moral compass like we do. They figure I'll get into office, and I'll just be able to be a legislator, and then they vote to damage our country. You have Ilhan Omar. You've got Rashida Tlaib. You've got these people, they call them the Squad, right? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who are actively, along with people like Bernie Sanders, trying to actively destroy our country and to try to turn it into something that isn't the ideal. It is a socialist version of America. And America was never meant to be a socialist country, you know. It's I think the founding fathers said something very interesting. They said that give them a constitution if they can keep it, right? And it's one of those famous sayings. They're saying, I think we have a constitution. Now let's see if the people can keep the constitution. And over the years, we've got this sect, these groups. I mean, we've got a whole group of people that are going down to Texas now, and they're trying to create a Muslim center, right? It's a big Muslim center, and they go, we are going to be the Muslim center of America. I go, well, America's not a Muslim country. So does that mean that nobody can go there other than Muslims? Because if it is, that's not America. That doesn't work in America, you know? Yep. So I would say to these people who are coming down to this country trying to change America into some Muslim, gay, whatever thing, that they ought to really rethink this, because the outcome is not going to be what they think it's going to be. At some point, the Muslims are going to probably come out of their shell, and you gay folks, they don't like Muslims, or Muslims don't like gay people. They don't put up with that crap. Yeah? Think of what they do to gay people, LGBTQ people, trans people, okay, quote unquote trans people in Muslim nations. Okay, there's a reason why you don't have those people in those nations. Okay.
Yeah, they're beheaded.
Anyways, Pastor Sherman, we're going to run along, and so let's end on a high note. Okay. What do you got coming up? It is actually Palm Sunday coming up this Sunday. Give us something. What is your church? Is your church going to be doing anything this Easter season coming up? What's going on?
We're actually partnering with, and you know, Pastor Sweetie, we're actually partnering with them this weekend, and then the next weekend we're probably going to try and get together and fellowship. We're not sure exactly how that is, but we're going to try and fellowship after church, and just get together and hang out with people and have fun and fellowship.
Oh, that sounds good. It really does, you know. I'll tell you. I'm looking forward to it too. I think I've got some special announcements for my church and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you about it offline here in a minute, but we're going to probably share some new things that are going on. I believe we're going to be doing some outreaches over the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited about that too. So I want to encourage people that are watching the show, once again, if you like what you hear on this show, that you write to us. Write to us at Christ&Culture Show. That's A-N-D, so you got to write the and. Christ&Culture Show at gmail.com. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch us on our Godstream channel. And go to godstreamtv.org or .com, either one, and you can check us out there. Check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and of course, folks, we are going to be starting, I believe we'll be starting a Facebook page here pretty soon. Who knows? Should be fun. But we'll definitely see you again next week for more of Christ&Culture Show. Pastor Tommy, got anything you'd like to say before we sign off?
Just be safe and keep the mind of Christ.
Amen, amen, amen. You guys, thank you so much. Pastor Tommy, we will see you again next week, okay?
All right. God bless.
God bless you too. And thank you all for being a part of the broadcast too, folks. Once again, it is Palm Sunday coming up. I hope that you guys are all getting ready for something that's going to, be a blast and have people talking, inviting people to go to church, that kind of stuff. It should be good. Remember, this nation needs us to be the watchman on the wall. So have your friends watch us on YouTube. Have your friends watch us on Godstream TV. Okay, that's Christ and Culture Show. Okay, anyway, it's been Pastor Sherman Ray. We will see you again next week for more Christ and Culture Show. You guys have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon. Okay, bye bye.